Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? So today we are going to be making the beautiful top you can see on the thumbnail. So that is what we are going to be making. So to get started, this fabric is folded into 4, and that's because we are going to be cutting both the front and the back together. So to get started, we are going to be taking our shoulder measurement. So to take the shoulder measurement, because I want the shoulder measurement to be a bit down, so I'm not going to be using my exact shoulder measurement. So I'm going to be extending it a little. So I'm going to be working with 11 inches. So the shoulder measurement I'm working with now is 11 inches. So from the 11 inches, I'm going to be taking my shoulder slope, which is 1 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it to the neckline. So the next thing to do is to take the neck measurement. So the neckline we are going to be working with is 3 inches. So I'm going to be working with 3 by 1 inches for the back part. So now for the armhole, I'm going to be using 8 inches for the armhole because I don't want it to be tight. So 8 inches is a bit free on me. So I'm going to be using 8 inches. So the same measurement I have on the shoulder line, I'm going to be replacing it on my chest line, which is where my armhole is stopping. And I'm going to be connecting the 2 lines together. So the full length of the top I'm going to be using is 30 inches. So I'm just going to mark 30 inches out now. So the next thing to do is to come on your chest line. That is where I'm going to be placing my bust measurement. So the biggest part of my body, that's the top part, is my bust. So my bust divided by 4 is giving me 9 inches. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inches for ease and sewing allowance. So the same measurement I have on that chest line, I'm just going to be replacing it on the other parts of the top. And I'm going to be connecting all the lines into a straight line. So guys, for the sleeve, you are going to be measuring from the nape of your neck to how long you want your sleeve to be. So for me, I want it to be around 23 inches. And you know that my shoulder is already 11 inches. So I'm going to start my measurement from the 11 inches. So 11 inches, and then I want it to be around 23 inches, but I'm going to be needing half inches to join the shoulder to the top. And I'm going to be using 1.5 inches for my casing. So I have it around 25 inches here, and I'm going to be cutting out the excess. So I'm just going to mark 9 inches. So that's what I'm going to be attaching to the top. So 9 inches is just fine. Since the sleeve we are working with is 8 inches, so I'm even going to be having excess, so it's just fine. I just mark out the 9 inches now, and I'm just going to be connecting this and cut out the excess. So let us start sewing. To start sewing, we are going to be joining the shoulder lines, but before we do that, let's work on the neckline for the front. So I'm going to be folding the front pattern again. Okay, so for the front neckline, I'm going to be working with a neckline of 8.5 inches. So that's how low I want the neckline to be, 8.5 inches. So from where I made the 8.5 inches point, I'm going to be going in by 1 inches. Just the way I'm doing it, and I'm trying to mark it out. So after you're done, then I'm going to be marking from that 1 inches. I'm going to be joining the lines together. That's from my 1 inches. I'm going to be marking it into the neckline, just exactly the way I am doing it. So now let's go ahead to join the shoulders together. So guys, after joining the shoulder, so the next thing to do is to measure all round. That's the neckline. We're measuring the neckline round, just the way I am doing it. So you measure it all round. So for the neckline, after I was done measuring, I had around 23 inches. So that's what I have for the entire neckline. So around the front area here, just the way I'm doing it, I'm going to be coming down by half inches, and that is where I'm going to stop my sewing. So I'm just marking out that half inches, so that by the time I'm done sewing, I'll stop at exactly that half inches. So the next thing to do is to cut the Ankara strip. So I just went ahead to cut a long strip of Ankara. So on fold, I have around 1.75. So on fold for the Ankara, I have around 1.75. So when I'm joining into the neckline, I'm going to be using 0.25 to join into the neckline, so that by the time I'm done sewing, I'm going to be having at least 1.5. So I'm going to be having at least 1.5. So just see the way I'm placing it. So I'll just place the Ankara that way. So make sure that when you are placing it, you have excess. Just the way you can see that there's excess at the tip. So I'm going to be using that excess. I'll show you why you need that excess. So right now, I'm just going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it all around. So guys, after we are done sewing all around, so we stopped at the half inches, so I'm just going to notch it. So from that sharp edge, I'm just going to notch it into where my sewing stops. So I'm just going to notch just the way I'm doing it. So I'll do it for the other side also, so you can just see what I did. So the next thing to do is to flip the neckline into the back part. So you can see me flipping it. So I'll just flip it properly and make sure I cross it properly. So just look at what I am doing. You can see that I crossed it. So after I'm done crossing it, so because you notched the white part, that's your white fabric, you notice that you have excess of that half inches. So that's the excess. So now I'll take this now to the sewing machine and join both the excess and the Ankaras together. So I'll just hold it that way, take it to the sewing machine and join the three lines. So the way I'm doing my hand, I'm just going to be sewing that way. So let me just go ahead to do that. So guys, so this is it now after I was done joining the neckline. So that is it now. So I went ahead to join the sleeve. So the sleeve does not have any special thing, you just join it to the shoulder. And then now for the allowance we added for the sleeve, so I'm just going to be using my hemming gum to finish up the sleeve. So I'm just going to place hemming gum inside. I'm going to be doubling the hemming gum so that it's going to be firm, and I'll just go ahead to iron it out. So guys, here is the sleeve. So I'm going to use the hemming gum to finish it. You can see how neat it's looking, and I'm going to join the sides. So the next thing to do is just to finish up the down part. So but before then, since we are going to be attaching this rope to the sides, so I measured from each side. I measured around 12 inches. So I measured 12 inches this way, and I sewed down my allowance. So I sewed it down so that I can have something like a casing like this that I'm going to pass the rope through. So I'm going to pass in the rope through the casing, and when I fix it and get to this point, I'm going to top stitch so that it's not going to be pulling out. So I'll just go ahead to finish up the down part and insert the rope. So I did it for the two sides, and so that is it for the complete making of this dress. So let me just go ahead to finish it.